And it's not going to be from your professor. Don't get me wrong, I'm married to a professor, keeps on professorizing to me all the time. But the point is, there's other information that you can secure and learn without having to pay for it. In fact, if you were interested or UNM was interested in any way, I can get Millie to come on and we can do a class through PWR, video, however you want to do it, in which she's addressing kids who are coming in to listen to what she has to say. We did something like that. Millie and I have been doing programs together now for a long time. This is just a thought. This is not, you got to do it, but it's just a thought. And I really feel like some of these students would profit from hearing what someone who society threw out a long time ago. I mean, she's on welfare. She has disabilities herself. But the fact of the matter was, she didn't let those keep her from doing what she felt needed to be done. And I think kids need to hear and see somebody like that. And she's not going to be glamorized or anything like that. And she is who she is. She looks like she looks. These kids are used to cellulite versions of size 2.5 and clothing and makeup and all the other things that come along with it. And if I was them, it'd be very hard for me to relate and to identify with somebody like that. And I think if they heard it from somebody who is who she is, that the message would get home better. Because she doesn't have anything to sell. She doesn't have to convince anybody of how good she is. She doesn't need to do any of that. And I think these kids need to learn that as well. We can do, YouTube has YouTube Live now, and we can certainly do it through YouTube Live. Yes, I don't know whether you're aware, but yes, they do live video now. Yeah. Oh, yeah, stick with me, kid. I'll keep you up to date. I certainly will. Another thought has occurred to me. If Dan would be interested in orchestrating something like this, it would be good for him. I don't need the practice. I'm not 30 or 20-something the way he is. Something like this, if he can show the place where he's now working at that he's capable of doing something like this, it would give them food for thought of how else they can really use his experience. So this is something you may want. I know kids don't take anything willingly from parents. My kid is 42, and I have to be very careful how I say things to him. I don't want him to take it the wrong way. But you may say, Lillian's putting together a new program through YouTube, and I know you're interested in video. You really ought to, find out what she has in mind. She's pretty busy. I bet she'd be delighted to give it to somebody. It would be through YouTube, and it would be maybe bringing people in like Millie who can talk to the student body. And he could be the person who would present them and the person who would close it off. And that way you would learn, your kids would have stuff that they haven't heard, and it'll stretch Dan a bit. Well, let me know when you have some time, and and we'll get on a Google Hangout, or we can do it by phone, whatever's going to be easiest for you, and I will, take you through your paces. I'll just take you kicking and screaming into the 22nd century. How's that? Well, I think it'd be to your advantage because personally, I think something like that type of knowledge would come in very useful for some of the things you can do with kids. I mean, if nothing else, if I could get a couple of students from the U of M, I could pretty much take them through the paces of learning things like this so it can also start stretching them. Good. I think we can work on it because I know there are a lot of people out there. One of the things that has really bothered me is that among the baby boomers, there's a lot of them who have all this knowledge and experience that's going to waste. And I would really like to try to create a program in which we can bring these folks in. And it's not just how to start your own business. It can be how to deal with your mother-in-law, who you now have to take care of. How to deal with your grandfather, who at 100 is still hanging on there. And you don't know who your allegiance is to your grandfather to take care of him, or to your aging baby boomer parents who one of them has to go in the nursing home because of Alzheimer's. And while many people will laugh about it, I don't laugh about this because life is very strange. And just when you think you have everything under control, wham! All the stones are loosened on your head from the nets. And I've already had a couple of experiences like that. And it really does throw a wrench into the proverbial plans. And I know that people are never prepared for when these things happen. And I would like to give them the information now so that when something happens, I could hear Dan Blow say, I want to just reread that thing that I received a couple of months ago because it tells me everything I need to do. So I don't have to call anybody. I don't have to go into panic mode. All I have to do is go back and read the 1, 2, 3 things that was told to me, and we're fine. And we'll have it taken care of. Because I know usually hysterics go along with this, or frustration. It's like my husband says, I can't find the page. I can't find the page. And, and I pick it up and I said, is this what you're looking for? And he said, oh, okay. And he's normally a very laid-back character, except when he can't find what he expects to find. So I just think that those kind of topics are always needed. And I don't think anybody's really addressing them because they're so obvious that nobody can see them. Their everyday life skills. So I think maybe if we can get something like that together, and talk to your powers to be at UNM, see if they'd be interested in something like that. Because I can tell them right now that a good 98% of those kids who are going to be graduating this year as seniors don't have a clue of handling life skills. And I can tell them at least half of them will fail in making that bridge between leaving behind their student and becoming an adult and going to work. I'm not saying anything about getting a job. If they can't get a job, well, I could help them there, but that's not what I'm advocating. But a lot of them don't have the wherewithal to make the transition, that bridge. And my son took a semester on a class that was designed to give these kids a bridge. So when they graduated, they would hit the ground running. And we both know you have to hit the ground running. He went to Parsons School of Design in New York City. And he took a full semester of the darn thing. So whatever he learned there and whatever I've been, brainwashing him with the last 20 years finally took root. And he was fine. He made that bridge. But a lot of these kids don't. And I really feel that one of the ways the universities and colleges are failing is that they don't provide something on life skills to these kids. Well, if you like, we can put something together and just do it as an online class through the computers. I know U of M does virtual learning. Everybody does. So maybe, and if we can package it in such a way, Tracy, maybe we can offer it to other schools or universities. Because I have to tell you, a lot of kids are not opting to go to college anymore. They either can't afford it, or there's nothing in college they feel that can teach them that they don't already know, but that's another story. But we won't go there just yet. But I really think a life skills thing would be really neat. And if there's such a way that the kids can take it, maybe as part, they need to take it before they graduate, and they only pay whatever, because I know U of M wants their blood money. Quite frankly, I need a little blood money to pay for all my equipment and everything. So, but I'm pretty sure that it would be something that they may welcome if somebody else does all the grunt work for them. Okay, well, I won't disturb you. I have some interesting interviews coming up this week that maybe some of your kids would be interested in. I know that they'd probably be interested in Captain America versus Iron Man. Well, my son's interested. He's been brought up, he's been nominated to be the best cartoonist in the world. So, and he's interested. It's my son, yes. Well, I know he's, really chomping at the bit. But I have some other interesting interviews that you may be interested in. I'm interviewing somebody about a lady by the name of Carrie Zane. She wrote a humorous book about parents and teenagers. And then I look at Ben. He's still a teenager. He's 42, but let me tell you something. In some ways, and I know Dan is probably the same way. So she wrote that book, and then I'm interviewing a Perry Nance, who's talking about conservative women in politics. She's definitely thinking about Cruz's new running mate, the former CEO of I don't ever keep names, and not even when they're dangling carrots. But I'll be interviewing both of these ladies live on Monday, and then on May 9th I'll be interviewing a Dr. Miller about climate change, and then Dan may be interested in this. I'll be interviewing on May 11th a gentleman who wrote a book about the new military warfare. And I'm interviewing him because I think people ought to know what to look forward to besides the atomic bomb, chemical warfare. Did I leave anything out? Oh, and hacking. Excuse me. But apparently there's some other things going on. So, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'll send you, if you can just send me your email for right now, I will send you my upcoming schedule of interview guests. And I would say half of them are going to be live, so you can listen to it as I'm doing it. Or if you don't want to, you can listen